Chapter 2. The Valley of Diamonds. Several years passed, and then Sinbad went on another voyage. Sinbad sailed with many sailors. They visited many countries. One day they came near an island. He and some of the sailors took a small boat from the ship. They went to the island. It was a beautiful place, and Sinbad walked about on it for many hours. Then he was tired. He lay down and slept for a while. When he woke up, he was alone on the island. The ship and the small boat were nowhere to be seen. "They forgot about me," Sinbad thought. "What can I do? I am alone on this island. How can I get away?" For many days he walked about the island. He met no one. He was completely alone. Then one day he saw a large dome on the ground. It was huge. He measured it. It was at least 50 meters round. "What is it?" he thought. "It is smooth, and there is no door or window in it." Then he heard the sound of a great wind. Suddenly the sky above him became dark. "Is there going to be a storm?" he thought. But the darkness was not from a storm. Sinbad was standing beneath the wing of a huge bird. The bird was a roc. The dome was the roc's egg. "The bird will soon fly away," Sinbad thought. "It can take me away from this island." He climbed onto one of the bird's legs and tied himself to it. Soon the bird rose into the sky and carried Sinbad with it. It flew away from the island and crossed the sea. "When the bird lands, I will untie myself," Sinbad thought. "I will be able to find a farm or even a village. There will be people who can help me." After some time, the bird flew over a desert. It saw a huge snake moving across the sand. It flew down to the sand to get the snake. Sinbad quickly untied himself and jumped off the bird's foot. It flew away with the snake in its mouth. Sinbad looked around him. The desert was in a valley between mountains. The mountains were very high. There was no road out of the valley. "I shall die here," Sinbad thought. He sat down. He saw some bright stones nearby. He picked one up. It was not a stone. It was a diamond. There were diamonds everywhere. Sinbad remembered a story about diamonds. Merchants tried to get diamonds from a place like this. They threw pieces of meat from the tops of the mountains down into the valley. Diamonds stuck to the meat. Then huge birds picked up the meat and flew with it to the tops of the mountains. Merchants were waiting for them there. They frightened the birds. The birds would drop the meat and fly away. The merchants then picked the diamonds out of the meat. "I can try this," Sinbad thought. He looked for a piece of meat. Soon he found a dead snake. He pushed diamonds into it, and then he tied the snake around him. He waited for a bird to come. Soon a huge bird came and took hold of the snake. It flew into the air with the snake and Sinbad. It carried him out of the desert to the top of the mountain. There were merchants waiting there. They frightened the bird. It dropped the snake and Sinbad onto the ground. Now the merchants were frightened. "Do not be frightened," Sinbad said to them. "I will give you diamonds and tell you my story." Sinbad told the other merchants his story. The merchants took Sinbad back to town with them. There he sold his diamonds and bought goods to sell. He stayed in the town for some time, buying and selling goods. He became rich. Then he loaded all his goods onto horses and began the long journey back home.